Hey guys, I'm back with another 5x5 video. These are some Yao tips that help me get to the level I am right now, which I would consider to be intermediate, right about 1 minute 45 seconds, and hopefully these can help you get there as well. Alright, so the first topic is how to make centers more efficiently. I talked about one way in my tutorial video, which is where you would make this line, add a 1x3 to make a 2x3, and then just do that one more time to get the full center. So that's just one way to make the first center, and centers in general, I guess. But there are a few other common ways that people use to make centers, which I think are valuable to know. The second way is by making this T shape like this, and then you can take another edge like this one right here, push it down into the center, and then put this back up to make the 2x3, and then you can make the last 1x3. So the last common way to make a center is to make a 2x1 here, and then add additional 2x1s until you can build your own 2x3 like this, and then again you would make the last 1x3 and insert it. There are a few special cases that I use quite often. For example, this one, when you have an edge and corner oriented like this, and you can take another corner, put it so it pairs up with this edge, do a U2, and then bring it back down to make the 1x3. Another thing I use quite often during centers is if you have this fish shape, you can pair this to an edge and always get a 2x3. So even if this was up here, I could move this, turn it, you get a 2x3 like this. And the second thing is cross edges. Most of making cross edges is just being able to look ahead to your next pieces, but there are a few things you can do to make them better. So first of all, just make sure you're not wasting too many moves. So if I was going for the blue-white here, I would go put this one up like that, bring this one down, and then pair them both up like this and put them in. Most of the time when you insert a cross edge, you want to move it out of the way, so you can use this U layer, which will be quite common. And then another thing is if I wanted to pair this up with this one, something you could do is move this up and then doing an F, and then bringing that back up to pair it. There's some things you can do if this is in this layer here. So you have this red one and this one. If you want to pair them up, you can move this out of the way and then bring it back down like that. But really a lot of this is just look ahead. When it comes to the last two centers, really on any 5x5 method, there's a lot of different cases you can get. And a lot of them are good to know, so I'm going to teach you some of them. To start, you want to try to get a 2x3 like this, which you can do with various methods. And then there's also quite a few cases for once you have this 2x3, what can happen up here, and I'll show you that now. This case is really easy. You can just bring this up, move that over, and bring it down again. This case is also really easy, and it's where you can bring this over, move this corner up to meet this, bring it over, and back down. There will be some times when the corner doesn't match up, so when you move this up, it's just not there. And what you do for this one is bring this up and back down, so this corner is in the same spot as this one, so they're just like this, and then you have the 3-move case. If you have something like this, what you can do is bring the corner over, move it up, since this is just all going to be red, and then it makes this bar so you can put it in. Same with this one, just mirrored, you can do this. Cases like this can be kind of hard sometimes, but there is actually a pretty good case where you put this on the right, so when it pushes up, you're not affecting it in the U layer. Then you bring this corner down so it matches like this, and then you have the 3-move case. Same with this one, just instead of moving it, like you wouldn't want to put it here because they don't match, so you'd put it there, and then another 3-move case. If you have something like this, what you can do is bring this piece up to meet this, do a U2, and bring it back down so these pair, which I also talked about earlier. This is the same case, just from a different angle. Bring it up and put it in. What you can do if you have these two corners misaligned, what you can do is just do this 3 times, and that'll solve it. When you have just one edge done, some people will do a commutator like this, bring the edge down. I feel like that isn't particularly fast. So how I like to do this one is just do this 3 times and then it solves it. If you have this case where just one corner is wrong, you can either again do a commutator, which would be like this, or you can put them close together like this and then do a fat soon. If you have the case where you have these 3 pieces in the top but they're not together, you can put it either like this or like this and then do RU to R prime, and you'll always have a 3-move case. If you have a case like this where these 2 are misaligned and these ones are also, but they're not together, what you can do is take this edge and pair it up to either of them. So in this case, what you could do is go like this to pair it up, or you could also move it up into the top like that to pair it up, and then you'll always have a 3-move case after that. This is just a quick little thing for the last cross edge. Sometimes you'll have this paired up with the free slice, but forget this one's in the bottom layer. This can sometimes be kind of weird and you'll have to do something like, I don't even know what I've done, maybe that. But there's a better way you can do it where you bring it up into the top like this, temporarily breaking the color scheme on this piece. But then when you put it back in, you misplace it again, move it over, and put it back so everything ends up in its right spot. For making edges after you've made the cross, it's really look ahead heavy, and a lot of your time saves will come from just getting better look ahead. But there are a few things that you can keep in mind to get faster once you're at that point. So first of all, once you've finished an edge, you don't want to just bring down some random pieces and then try to find your next edge. Ideally, you'll have found it beforehand, and then you can insert a piece so that you can pair it up afterward, and then that should help you with your efficiency. For another thing, there will sometimes be cases like this where it's better to, instead of just moving it to the side like this, and then I guess having to rotate or do this to get the last one in, what you can do instead of that is just do a fat wide move, which brings this over. So really, if you have perfect look ahead and you're okay doing fat bottom moves, which I don't know how good those are, probably not the best, but you technically wouldn't have to rotate like ever for edges. So just keep that in mind when you're making them. For the last 2 edges, there's a lot of different cases you can get and algorithms for each one of them. I don't use those yet. I plan on learning them eventually, but as a stepping stone from just, I don't know, building the edges the normal way you would, there are a few, I guess, mini cases you could call them. They're pretty intuitive, but I'll show them here anyway. So for this one, when you have these edges on the top and bottom but replaced in the middle, oh, and they also have to be facing the same direction, so it couldn't be like this. They should be matching, like the fronts and the sides. So what I like to do is move the top one first, do the flipping algorithm, and then I move the bottom one, do the flipping algorithm, and that brings them together. If you had parity, one of these edges would be flipped, and you could just do the same thing and then continue with parity. If you have a case like this, where these 2 are good, these 2 are good, but these 2 need to swap, that's also going to be parity, and you can just bring this over and then bring it back to solve this and continue with parity. The non-parity version of that would look something like this, where you bring this edge over with this, flip this so you can bring it over to this, and then that'll solve this piece. If you have a double parity case, this isn't actually parity, and what you can do is bring this edge over here, flip this piece, so we're flipping the pieces and this one edge, which solves the parity. That's all the special cases I use for the last 2 edges, but there's something you can do with parity that can make you a little bit faster. So instead of turning the cube to the side like this and then doing parity, you'll have to bring this down and re-rotate the cube and then look around for all the pieces you want. So there is actually a better way to do that. So if you have parity like this, what you can do is move it down, temporarily moving this, do the parity algorithm, and then you'll have to move this because it gets flipped from here to here, back into the same spot. So basically what you can think of is if you move it down with a U, at the end you're also going to have to do a U. And this allows for a little bit of a better transition into 3x3 stage because you don't have to rotate the cube to the side, and it can even help you with look ahead a little bit. So that's all the tips for 5x5 I have at the moment. If I ever get faster and realize something in here is stupid, I'll update this video. But for now, I think this is all pretty good stuff that'll help make you faster. Really in 5x5, it's a lot of just being efficient, turning fast, and then having good look ahead, which are all just kind of general skills that can't really be improved with tips other than saying, look ahead. So I hope these can help you, at least a little bit. Yeah, have a good day. See ya. Thanks for watching.